this is Bryan.
Hey, Bryan, it's Shadoe Stevens and Richard Label.
Hi, Bryan. Nice to meet you.
How you guys doing?
Good.
We're doing great, and I've been telling people the great conversation we had a couple of years ago, and I'd love to jump right into it, because when you say things like ascension teacher and creator of multidimensional matrix templates, people's eyes are going to glaze over and not know what we're talking about. So let's start at the beginning. What happened when you were a truck driver in 1996?
Well, I was a truck driver. I also had other odd jobs as well, and I had what I call kind of just an experience. It was almost like I was energetically, like I was hit by a lightning bolt, and my whole life changed. One day I was one person, the next day I was a total another person, and I started having connections, I guess.
Now, wait a minute. Let me stop you there. You're driving an 18-wheeler and you're on the road when you were hit by a lightning bolt?
Well, yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Sort of. Was it a real lightning bolt, or a sudden revelation and your body turned white?
Well, a little bit of both, actually. I think it was there was a kind of a shock to my system for about 7 or 8 hours, and I didn't really know what it was. It began in the late morning, and it continued into the night, and my mind just kept expanding and expanding, and I started hearing things in my mind like transmissions and things like that. I started seeing things, and I just kind of felt like, wow, I'm not going to do this job anymore. And so I basically quit.
Stop driving 18-wheelers.
Quit the next day. Yeah,
okay.
Quit the next day, and then started drawing.
No,
yeah.
But you told me some unusual things that happened to your body.
Yeah.
So what were those?
Well, my shoe size, my feet grew actually, and I grew about 2.5, 3 inches.
In height?
Yes, within about 3 or 4 days.
So your shoe size, did you bust through your shoes, kind of like the Hulk would rip through a shirt?
No. I went up from, I was about a 10, and I went up to a 12 and then a 13. And often still I go up and down in shoe size, so I have to have like both sizes, in my closet.
Now, how do we know this is true? Did your parents like look at you and say, your feet are awfully big, right? In fact, you're taller. How did that happen?
Of course, when I had those jobs, I was not living with my parents, but I did. My friends were pretty shocked, and of course, I couldn't relate to my other truck driver friends, and my family members. Thought that there was something odd going on with me at the time, but I didn't even question it. I just kept on going, and
didn't you tell me you lost weight as well?
Oh yes, oh yeah.
And in the first week, right?
Oh yes, my physiology completely changed, my whole genetic patterning, everything.
So do you now look something like an alien? I mean, you have like big bulbous eyes, or?
Well, on the higher levels, in another dimension, I'm sure I do. I actually have other aspects.
Kind of a mushroom head?
No, not really.
How old were you when this all happened?
I was about 35.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a complete transformation at 35.
Yes.
And then you started drawing obsessively.
Yes, obsessively. It was like 10 drawings a day. Even in the span of an hour, I would do 10 drawings.
Now, didn't you tell me that you also, you had actual visitations by some kind of alien extraterrestrials or something?
Yeah, I call them the positive extraterrestrials. There's actually kind of two kinds. There's the intruders, and then there's what's called the guardians. And so I had positive experiences for the most part with human-looking extraterrestrials, and then it got to where there were visitations from non-human once I adapted to the first communications. But there were spaceships, hovering over my house. I actually have pictures of them, and different types of things. So I do have. I mean, there is physical evidence. There is proof. I mean, just look on my website.
Yeah, what is your website?
It's BryanDesflores.com, BRYAN, Bryan with a Y.
Okay. Now, you said that grays. Now, what are grays? Greys visited you while you were sleeping or on your bed or jumped on your bed.
that was when I first moved to Sedona, right after I awakened, and I was drawing a lot, and I wasn't really clear on what was happening to me at that time. I was just drawing a lot, and I was making some new friends and just enjoying my new life, and I would wake up probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I would hear this buzzing, and I would look outside, and I would see lights, and then sometimes I would be kind of like in a comatose state while I was in my sleep, and I knew that there was, somebody in my room. And then I would actually see them sometimes. Sometimes they would actually take the drawings that I did the previous day. They would take them directly, walk through the walls with them. They would take them, and I wouldn't see the drawings. I would wake up and I couldn't find them.
They would walk through the walls?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So
they're known to do that anyway.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, of course, Shadoe.
Yeah, that's
I'm
like
sorry.
one of their gimmicks. That's like one of their tricks.
So now would a gray be an intruder or a guardian?
Obviously, intruder, yes.
I see. So what is the point of the intruders? The intruders are here to do...
Well, the Earth is a big genetic, playground, and there's lots of different life forms here, and so a lot of different races actually want the Earth connection for the genetics, for the DNA. So the Greys, in a nutshell, the Greys race is dying, and so they've come to Earth. They've actually time traveling back from the future to get genetic material, which is why there are abductions and cattle mutilations and things like that.
Okay, so now the Greys are the little 4 feet tall aliens, right?
Yes, but
Okay.
they're only
and they're intruders.
One of the races, yes.
Now, what about the Guardians? Are they 4 feet tall too?
Some of them, the Arcturians are. The Arcturians are very small, actually, but they're human-looking.
But they're Guardians. They're here to help us out and protect us from the DNA-seeking, genetic playground-playing Greys.
Yes, they are.
And are they everywhere? I mean, like, would I see some and not know that they're here since they're in human form?
Well, actually, right now, the Earth is kind of sealed, so their activity has really died down a lot, but they are still here. You don't hear about any abductions anymore too much, or any like cattle mutilations and stuff like that, and they're behind all of that. So
why is it closed down?
Well, they just, it's not really closed down, it's just sealed. So there were portals on the planet that were actually, they were stargates that were bringing through that type of energy where they would fly through. And it was ultimately, go way back to the Philadelphia experiment when all of those were opened, and the Montauk Project opened a lot of wormholes that allowed the Greys and the reptilians and all of the intruder races to come through, and the Ashtar Command, who I work with, and the angels and all the spiritual hierarchy.
What is Ashtar Command? You say these things as if we know.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. Well, the Ashtar Command are part of the Guardians. They're part of the Galactic Federation of Light.
Oh, the Federation of Light, yeah.
Yeah, and they're comprised of, human races and extraterrestrial races that are actually, guide the Earth and all the other planets in this universe. I mean, this is only one of 12 universes. So this is, the highest level or evolved races actually form councils, and then those councils form a federation, and then they help to protect the planet. So the Ashtar Command is kind of like a faction of the Federation, and they're kind of like the interdimensional police. And they police our whole solar system, in fact, our whole galaxy, and they try and make sure that the intruders cannot gain entry. But through all our scientists' tampering over the last 100 years, they've opened stuff, and the Ashtar Command has had a hard time getting rid of the intruders because they come through those wormholes and stargates. Yeah.
Do you have any other human friends that you know?
Oh, human on Earth?
Yeah, that have your same connection with the extraterrestrials?
Yes, there are a lot of people here. I mean, there's actually 4 million Ashtar Command ambassadors like myself here alone, and those are Ashtar Command people. But I know Andromedans and Pleiadians, and there's many other people. They're in every faction, of every culture. They have every job description. They're in the White House. They're working at Circle K. They're working at Walmart. They're monitoring the energy. They're in the medical industry.
Some are even DJs.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, they're the communicators. They're the communications people. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
So now you wrote me that there are new discoveries, multi-dimensional supplements.
Yes.
Is this something that you sell?
No.
Oh, okay. Now what are they then?
Well, on a higher level, I actually have other lifetimes that are simultaneous to this, and one of them is a scientist.
Wait a minute. You have other lifetimes that are simultaneous to this?
Yeah, we all do. See, the Earth, we're on a linear timeline, but the Earth has many, many timelines moving. So I'm living here in this reality now, in 2015, but I'm also living on a timeline in Atlantis 25,000 years ago. But it's in our perception in this linear timeline, we cannot perceive those other realities.
So the supplements are provided by, is there, like a 7-Eleven, a place where you order them?
Well, the Earth is all about combinations. So it's a combination lock, and everyone has to find the right combination of supplements, of ways to get prosperity, how to get good relationships and manifest what you want. So lately, a couple months ago, the Ashtar Command kind of guided me to look into these brain power supplements that are out. And there's a lot of them. They're at Whole Foods. They're at all the natural food places, and they boost your brain power, which, of course, boosts your brain capacity. And so for people who are, working 40 hours a week or 80 hours a week, it's a good alternative to coffee, especially something natural, like high in vitamin Bs, ginkgo, and all of that. So I started looking into that and looking at the combinations, and the Ashtar Command was showing me different things, and they kind of guided me to one element that I'm using right now in combination with others. It's called neuroflexin. Have you heard of that?
No, I know nothing about this. Is this available on your website, or do you talk about it?
No, it's not available on my website, but you can actually buy it.
Neuro what?
Neuroflexin.
Flexin.
Yeah.
This was born out of the movie Limitless. If you saw that with Bradley Cooper.
I loved Limitless.
Yeah,
great
fantastic. And then there was Lucy, of course, with the females.
I love Lucy too.
Yeah.
And Ricky.
Yeah. Exactly. So
neuroflexin is something we should all tap into, and we don't have to be afraid of becoming hooked.
Well, the neuroflexin is just one element. What I found is that in itself it's not complete and may not work for everyone. And of course, when you get it, they tell you, to take 3 of them, and I took 2, and that was overload on me. I mean, I'm already thinking in a multidimensional.
Yeah, of course.
And when I took that, it was just spun me out.
I would imagine.
Basically, it does the same thing that it did to Bradley Cooper, but you have to combine other elements with that.
And what would those other elements be?
Well, those other elements are going to be revealed on a
we don't know yet.
teleconference that I'm doing. Well, I'm still doing the research right now. I've been taking it off and on for a couple months, and this combination, which includes neuroflexin, which includes some other things, and it's working really fantastic for me. It's actually allowing me, and I was never able to do this before, talk to people on other timelines. So I can actually skip a timeline, move over, and talk to other aspects of myself or other people. It's
at the same time?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I see.
Yes.
So how do you know what to pay attention to?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if you're talking to multiple people in multiple dimensions at the same time, and your consciousness is like shifting from one to another, do you automatically understand what's going on in each of the multi-dimensional conversations?
Yes.
Right, like if George Washington's talking, but then gets interrupted by Jesus.
Yeah.
You don't answer one or the other, or
well, they wouldn't interrupt each other necessarily, and you have to have your brain capacity at a certain level to actually process all that different information at the same time.
Yeah,
okay, that makes sense.
Which is what Bradley Cooper did in Limitless. And
yeah.
So the neuroflexin in combination with these other things that I'm taking, again, the neuroflexin didn't do it 100% for me. It basically gives you a heightened clarity. It, again, boosts your brain power. It improves your creative problem-solving thinking. And I actually had to pair it with one of the other elements is electrolytes, a liquid electrolyte that the Ashtar Command told me, okay, pair it with this and check it out. So again, I'm going through a research process.
Okay, so at some point you're going to have a teleconference where you're going to reveal.
Like on the phone? Or how do you, when you say they
it's on
contact
the
you,
phone.
is it email, by phone? They
sign up?
You can go to my website. It should be up this morning on my schedule page. It's called Immorata, and it's all about immortality formulas and things like that. Again, combinations. The combination is slightly different for each person because each person's chemistry is different. But this is like a revelation for people. And another multidimensional supplement is the sun-theanine, which is kind of brand new. And the sun-theanine is being widely used. It's similar to 5-HTP, where it takes your stress level down, really enhances your endocrine function. Especially, when people are going through the change of life, or men are going through what they call a midlife crisis, your endocrine system and all of the hormones and everything kind of go crazy, and this stabilizes that. It relieves stress. It actually creates more alpha waves in your brain as well. So that's another element that I'm taking with the Neuroflexin.
Okay, so you're set for 2017, whatever that means. What does 2017 now mean? We passed the millennium. We got past Y2K.
Yep.
A lot of things we're quite afraid of, and of course, the end of the world happened, and we're hanging in. So
we're still here.
So what's next? 2017 is what?
Well, 2017 marks the next big energy jump for humanity, and we haven't had a jump in energy like this since 1992. If you can remember, and any of your listeners can remember, back in the early 90s, late 80s, there was a huge jump in energy. The movie Contact came through. I mean, there was so much good music coming through. All new forms of everything were coming through, and it was a massive jump in energy. And there was a lot of new ideas. There was a lot of new scientific discoveries.
New sitcoms? There's some really good TV was out, too.
Yeah,
a lot of good TV.
Good TV, good movies. And then in 2004, the energy kind of stabilized, and then it kind of collapsed a little bit. And then for about 9 years right now, we've been in kind of a holding pattern. And it's almost like we're waiting for something. Well, the Ashtar Command and the Federation say the next big energy jump happens in 2017.
So this is something to look forward to.
2 years.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. People are just going to love it. It's going to be like
a rebirth.
It's going to be like a rebirth. It's going to be like a frenzy of energy when it starts. It's going to be almost just real crazy. All new stuff coming out. Again, new forms of music, new forms of filmmaking. It's going to be really big. And again, we haven't had that since 1992, and that's been a long time.
It has been.
Yes.
So we need that jump in energy.
I need it.
Yeah.
I need the Neuroflexin.
Hey, not to change tactics here too much, but can you give me an example of like a real life story of something really amazing that happened to you? Not necessarily just somebody calling or this or the chemicals, but something that actually happened to you that you can tell us a little story about.
Well, in regards to my artwork, I can tell you one story in relation to that. When I initially started drawing my accelerators, which you see all over my website, it was very exhilarating, and I wasn't actually drawing them in this dimension. And so I would go to the art store, which I'd never been to before, like an Aaron Brothers Art Mart or a Hobby Lobby or something, and I would get all this paper and these pencils, and I had really no idea what I was doing. And initially, the first 3 days that I started drawing, there was about 16 different styles that came through in about 5 days. And some of those styles looked like they were Leonardo da Vinci from like the Renaissance. Some of them were black and white. Others were beautiful painting style.
And are examples of these on your website?
Some of them are on my website, yes. I haven't posted
Because your
all the-
artwork is really interesting, and that's the
thank
most
you.
interesting thing about you is
Yeah.
you have all of this like far out stuff that people have never heard of before, and then you go, but look at his art. You go, oh,
Yeah.
well, maybe I should take him seriously.
Have you had someone come in and actually talk to you from a different planet?
Oh, yes, all the time.
And what would that look
actually-
like? Like that's
actually
what
yesterday, yeah. Some of them, like the Andromedans come in a lot lately because they're working with me on certain projects, and their skin, they look human, but their skin is kind of green tinted. A lot of the extraterrestrials that I work with can blend in to Earth, so they can actually come down and walk around for the most part, and people don't recognize them, especially the Pleiadians, and the Syrians are a little bit more odd-looking. They look like ancient Egyptians, so they can't really come down in their form. But a lot of them have what they call shape-shifting abilities, so they can come down and they can shape-shift for a matter of about 7 hours in this density. Any more than that, and they'll start to shift back. So they come down here all
They
the time.
need more neuroflexin.
Yeah, well, they don't need it. They probably, they're a lot more evolved than that. There's a race of humans called the Timmers, and they're living in another universe, but they come over here to give technologies to the other extraterrestrial races periodically, and they're the most evolved humans in any of the 12 universes, and they're amazing. They're 8 to 10 feet tall. Their bodies are gold, and they're actually our Greek gods were their children.
Do any of them eat people?
Not that I know of. Not the ones.
Have you been on a spaceship?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
And where did you go?
Well, gosh, where did I go?
Hobby Lobby.
Well, I've been to Venus. I've been to Venus, and
There are beings on Venus?
Oh yes, yeah.
Must be hot.
Not in the third dimension of what we can see. Our astronomers can't see into the higher dimensions. In the sixth dimension, there's actually
They're hidden under that cloud, I guess.
No, they're actually in another dimension.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
So when you have people come in, though, you can't videotape them.
Well, you probably can, but that's not my specialty. I'm not even good on a cell phone, so even taking pictures for me, that's not a good thing. Although I did take some pictures of lenticular clouds and ships over my house and stuff like that.
And those
But
are
I'm
on your
not
site?
a video person.
Those are on your site?
I think there's one on my site. Yeah, we're kind of rearranging my site right now, and now I have another site for people who are just waking up, and that's a little less daunting.
An introductory, like a weekly reader, or?
Yeah, it's like an introductory site because my site can
site?
be a little overwhelming. It's bryansmagicart.com.
I would just think it would go a long way to stop the naysayers if you, on, let's say, your iPhone, you switch from photo to video and just push the button and had a few seconds of one of these meetings.
Yeah, but they don't allow you to do that for the most part, which is why you never see it.
Oh, okay.
And,
I knew there'd be a rule.
Yeah, there would
what
have to be a
happened
rule.
is the contact that was actually going on that level stopped when the video revolution came in for a reason, because they do not want that out there now.
So they don't want the masses to know that they're here?
Well, yes, they do, but there's a no interference clause, and they cannot come down and land and kind of overtly or aggressively contact people, or else their race gets caught in Earth's evolution, and they don't want to get caught in our timeline. So there is a kind of a clause. They can contact you telepathically if you're already an ambassador and it's in your birth contract. They can come and they can visit you in your home if it's already contracted, but they can't stage a mass landing or anything like that. And
So are there contracts that you have to sign?
That's pre-birth. That's before you come into embodiment.
Oh, it's in the genetic code of some kind.
Yeah.
So you don't even know.
So what is the most, now we have to wind this up, but what is the most important thing that you want people to know other than Bryan Desflores is BryanDesflores.com, BryanDesflores.com, right? And
Yeah,
BryansMagicArt.com.
Yeah, well, that should be it. People awaken on many levels, and if people are drawn to my work, then that's fine. I don't I don't do a lot of, promoting and all of that. I usually don't do a lot of radio interviews and things. So people just find my work, and if they resonate with it, welcome. And I give teleseminars, and the accelerators actually shift your energy. I have medical miracle templates, which help to clear cancer and leukemia and all sorts of disorders. And so, whatever your
So
pleasure.
basically you're saying just come to the website,
Yeah.
immerse yourself in it, and find what you need.
Yes.
All right, Bryan, well, thank you. You've been terrific again. I always enjoy talking to you. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Good
All
luck,
right.
pal.
All right, thanks. Bye.